There comes a moment in every chosen woman's life when she realizes that the light within her does not depend on the applause of the crowd, validation of family, or the presence of friends. A chosen woman learns through trial and through tears that her shine was never meant to be borrowed. It was planted by God Himself, waiting to break forth in the solitude of her journey. Loneliness is not punishment, it is preparation. Silence is not rejection, it is refinement. When God sets you apart, He is not isolating you to diminish you. He is separating you to elevate you. You don't need to chase people to prove your worth. You don't need to compromise your values to keep company. You don't need to dim your brilliance to make others comfortable. When a chosen woman learns to shine alone, she becomes dangerous to the enemy, unstoppable in her purpose and unshakable in her faith. She learns that her oil flows in the crushing, her strength rises in the storm. Her voice becomes clear when the noise around her fades away. So if you find yourself walking alone in this season, don't despise it. Same God who called you is the God who is shaping you. He is teaching you to walk with dignity, to speak with authority, and to live with integrity. Your shine doesn't need a crowd, it only needs courage. And when you finally step into the fullness of your calling, you will look back and thank God that you learned how to shine alone. There are moments in life when you will feel the sting of being alone, when the laughter of others seems far from your reach, and when the path you are called to walk feels heavy beneath your feet. You may look around and wonder why the people you thought would stand with you are no longer beside you. You may question why certain doors have closed, why certain relationships faded, or why silence has replaced the noise that once filled your days. What feels like isolation is often God's greatest form of preparation. Isolation is not the absence of purpose. It is the breeding ground of it. When God pulls you away from the familiar, it is not to punish you, but to position you. You cannot become who you are meant to be while clinging to everything and everyone that once defined you. There is a pruning that must take place. Separation that is necessary, for greatness cannot grow in crowded soil. The chosen are always set apart, and when you are called to shine, you must learn how to endure seasons where no one sees your light but God. Some of the strongest warriors were trained in obscurity. Greatest leaders spent years in silence before their voices were heard. The oil is pressed in private long before it flows in public. Isolation becomes the place where you discover not only who you are, but who God has always intended you to be. It is in the quiet, away from distractions, that your vision becomes sharper. It is when the world is stripped away that you hear the whisper of God's direction more clearly. Too often, we confuse loneliness with abandonment. We believe that if people leave, if doors close, if crowds disappear, then somehow we have been forgotten. The truth is, being alone is not the same as being forsaken. You can be alone and still be carried. You can be alone and still be anointed. You can be alone and still be on schedule for destiny. God does His best work when you feel like you are by yourself, because He knows that in isolation, you will finally stop reaching for everyone else and start reaching for Him. In isolation, you are stripped of comparison. No longer are you measuring your pace against the journey of others. No longer are you distracted by the opinions of the crowd. You are left with only yourself, your God, and the promise He placed inside of you. And though it may feel uncomfortable, though the silence may echo in your chest, though the nights may feel long, something powerful is happening behind the scenes. Roots are growing deeper. Character is being forged. Resilience is being built. Your foundation is being strengthened so that when the time comes for you to stand in the fullness of your calling, you will not crumble under the weight of it. Think of a seed. When it is planted, it disappears beneath the soil. No one claps for it. No one sees it. It is buried, surrounded by darkness, and pressed down by the earth. But it is in that very place of obscurity that the seed breaks open. Growth happens in the dirt. Transformation takes place in the unseen. Isolation for the seed is not its end. It is the environment required for its beginning. In due season, that seed pushes through the soil and rises toward the light, stronger because of the darkness it endured. That is the same for you. What feels like burial is actually planting. What feels like endings are actually beginnings. Your isolation is the soil of your preparation. You learn to embrace isolation as a divine classroom. You stop fighting it and start learning from it. You realize that every lonely night is teaching you endurance. Every unanswered call is building independence. Every moment of silence is strengthening your ability to hear God's voice above all others. You begin to see that you are not being deprived. You are being developed. You are not being cut off. You are being set apart. You are not being diminished. You are being designed for something greater. Preparation is never glamorous. No one posts pictures of the struggle, the quiet tears, the long prayers, or the hidden battles. Preparation is hidden, but its results are undeniable. The woman who went through isolation and allowed it to shape her comes out unshakable. She comes out knowing her worth, no longer desperate for the approval of people. She comes out anchored in faith, not swayed by the shifting opinions of others. She comes out with clarity because in the quiet she heard the instructions for her destiny. If you find yourself in isolation, resist the urge to rush the process. Too many abort their preparation because they cannot handle the silence. They crave the noise of validation, the comfort of company, and the assurance of applause. But rushing out of isolation prematurely leaves you underdeveloped, and when the weight of your calling comes, you will not be ready to carry it. Better to endure the loneliness now and be fully equipped later than to escape the silence and collapse when destiny arrives. Do not despise the season where God hides you. Do not resent the moments when no one knows your name, when no one applauds your efforts, when no one sees your tears. It is in that hidden place that your power is forged. Just because you are unseen does not mean you are unloved. Just because you are hidden does not mean you are forgotten. Just because you are isolated does not mean you are disqualified. You are in preparation. And preparation always comes before manifestation. So lift your head in the midst of your solitude. Dry your tears and remind yourself that you are not abandoned. You are being refined. You are not overlooked. You are being prepared. What God is doing in private will one day be revealed in public. And when it is, the same people who wondered why you disappeared will marvel at the strength, the wisdom, and the glow you carry. Isolation is not the end of your story. It is the birthplace of your greatness. And when the time comes for you to step out of the shadows into the light, you will not only shine, you will radiate with a brilliance that could have only been forged in the silence of your preparation. There is a kind of strength that cannot be purchased, kind of confidence that cannot be borrowed, and a kind of glow that cannot be dimmed by silence. It is the shine that comes from within. The radiance of a woman or man who has learned that their worth is not tied to applause, their value is not defined by recognition, and their calling does not require a stage. To shine without applause is to live in such a way that your light is not dependent on who claps for you, but on who created you. We live in a world addicted to attention. People chase likes, shares, and followers, hoping to validate their existence through the temporary approval of others. Applause fades. Crowds are fickle. The same voices that cheer you today can turn on you tomorrow. If your identity is built on their praise, then your destiny will collapse under their silence. That is why there is something powerful, something unshakable about a person who can shine when no one is watching, who can give their best when no one is clapping, and who can keep walking when no one is encouraging. The truth is this: your shine was never meant to be fueled by applause. Applause is temporary. Applause is external. Applause is fragile. But your light, the God-given glow within you, was designed to outlast every season, every storm, and every silence. The sun does not wait for the earth to cheer before it rises each morning. The stars do not demand appreciation before they pierce through the night sky. They shine because shining is their nature. In the same way, you were not called to perform for approval. You were called to live out your purpose, whether or not anyone notices. When you learn to shine without applause, you walk in freedom. You are no longer enslaved to the opinions of others. You are no longer desperate for validation that was never yours to begin with. You understand that your worth was established before the foundations of the world. No amount of clapping or silence can alter it. You discover a quiet strength, deep-rooted confidence that cannot be shaken by the shifting winds of popularity. You learn that it is better to walk alone in authenticity than to be surrounded by a crowd that only loves your performance. Shining without applause also means staying consistent in the dark seasons. It means working diligently when no one acknowledges your effort. It means showing up with excellence even when nobody is paying attention. Because your calling is not a show, it is a mission. Your assignment is not about being seen, but about being faithful. The applause of people is fleeting, but the reward of faithfulness is eternal. Too many abandon their purpose because the crowd didn't notice, because their efforts weren't praised, because their light didn't attract attention right away. But those who endure, those who shine regardless of the silence, those who remain steadfast in their calling, those are the ones who rise with lasting influence. Consider a candle burning in an empty room. No one is there to admire it. No one is there to take a picture. No one is there to clap. Yet the candle fulfills its purpose by giving light, simply because light is what it was created to give. That is the kind of life you must live. Even if no one acknowledges the sacrifices you make, even if no one applauds your resilience, even if no one praises the battles you fought in silence, shine anyway. Shine in the quiet corners. Shine in the unseen moments. Shine in the hidden places. Because your light was never meant to be transactional. It was meant to be transformational. The danger of living for applause is that you will shrink when it disappears. But when you learn to shine without it, you become unstoppable. Not enough. You can walk into a room where no one knows your name and still radiate with purpose. You can endure seasons where your efforts go unnoticed and still carry yourself with dignity. You can live in such a way that whether people praise you or criticize you, you remain anchored in who you are. This is the kind of shine that hell cannot dim and circumstances cannot steal. There will be moments when the very people you thought would clap for you will stay silent. There will be seasons when the support you expected will not come. There will be days when the silence feels heavier than the applause you long for. But let that silence teach you something. Teaches you that you were never doing it for them in the first place. Your shine was not meant to be powered by their affirmation, but by the purpose burning in your soul. Greatness is often born in silence. The strongest voices are shaped in obscurity. The deepest roots are forged underground, unseen, unnoticed, but necessary for survival. So do not resent the times when your work goes unrecognized. Do not despise the moments when your effort is unseen. Those are the times when your character is being tested, your endurance is being built, and your faith is being stretched. If you can shine in silence, you will glow in abundance. If you can shine without applause, you will be trusted with influence that applause could never sustain. Applause may feel good, cannot sustain you. The claps will fade, the cheers will quiet, the stage will empty. But if you have learned to shine without it, you will continue walking in your purpose even when the noise is gone. Your confidence will not rise and fall with the volume of the crowd. Your identity will not crumble under their silence. Instead, you will carry a light that is constant, steady, and eternal. So let this be your reminder. Do not wait for applause to validate your shine. Do not wait for recognition to give your best. Do not wait for a crowd to affirm what God already placed inside of you. Shine because you were created to shine. Shine because your light matters. Shine because there are lives that will be touched by your glow even if they never clap for it. And when you finally step into the fullness of your destiny, when your light cannot be ignored, you will look back and realize that the seasons of silence prepared you for the moments of recognition. The ability to shine without applause gave you the strength to withstand both obscurity and exposure. And in the end, you will know that your light was never about the applause of people, but about the purpose of God. There comes a time in every life when the crowd disappears, familiar voices grow silent, when the comfort of company fades, and you are left with yourself. For many, solitude feels like punishment, a reminder of emptiness, a weight that is hard to carry. But for those who learn to embrace it, solitude is not weakness, it is strength. It is in solitude that you discover who you truly are without the noise, without the distractions, without the expectations of others. Strength in solitude is not found in escape, but in transformation, not in isolation for the sake of loneliness, but in separation for the sake of power. The truth is, solitude is not always chosen. Sometimes it is forced upon you. People walk away, circumstances change, relationships dissolve. Life transitions you into places where the crowd cannot go. And though at first it may feel like abandonment, it is often alignment. What you thought was rejection may actually be direction. The solitude you feared may be the very environment required to build the strength you need for the next season of your life. Strength in solitude begins when you realize you are not defined by who stays with you or who leaves you. Too often, we lean on others for identity. Let their approval shape our confidence. We let their presence determine our worth. But solitude strips all of that away. When you stand alone, you are forced to face the question, who am I when there is no one to validate me? Who am I when the applause has stopped? Who am I when the room is empty? In answering those questions, you discover that your strength was never meant to come from outside voices, but from the unshakable truth planted within your soul. There is a refining fire in solitude. It burns away the superficial, it consumes the unnecessary, and it leaves you with the purest version of yourself. The chatter of others often distracts you from hearing your own voice, but in solitude you learn to listen differently. You begin to hear the quiet stirrings of vision, the whispers of purpose, the direction of destiny. Strength in solitude is not loud. It is steady. It is the calm assurance that you are never truly alone, because solitude is often where God meets you most intimately. Think about the eagle. It does not flock with the sparrows, nor does it gather in crowds. It soars alone, high above the noise, finding strength in the solitude of the sky. That is what makes it powerful. That is what makes it unshakable. Many are afraid of solitude because they confuse it with loneliness, but there is a difference. Loneliness is emptiness. Solitude is empowerment. Loneliness drains you. Solitude trains you. In solitude, you stop being defined by the crowd and start being defined by your calling. There will be nights when solitude feels heavy, when the silence echoes louder than any noise, when your heart aches for companionship. Do not despise those nights. They are teaching you endurance. Enough. They are teaching you to rely on an inner well of strength you didn't even know you had. You discover resilience not when surrounded by cheerleaders, when you rise alone with no one but God to lean on. The battles you fight in solitude are the battles that shape you into a warrior. No one sees the tears you cry in silence, but those tears water the soil of your destiny. No one hears the prayers you whisper when you feel unseen, but those prayers become the foundation of your strength. Strength in solitude is also about boundaries. When you learn to be content alone, you stop settling for toxic company. You stop clinging to people who drain you just to avoid silence. You stop compromising your worth just to feel accepted. Solitude teaches you that peace is better than fake companionship, that wholeness is better than broken validation, that strength is found in standing alone with dignity rather than walking with crowd that diminishes your soul. The world often glorifies togetherness. While community is beautiful and needed, there is a sacred power in learning to stand alone. Because there will be assignments only you can carry. There will be mountains only you can climb. There will be visions placed in your heart that no one else can understand. If you are too dependent on others, you will abandon those assignments for fear of walking alone. But when you find strength in solitude, you learn to carry the vision even when no one else believes in it. You learn to press forward even when no one else joins you. You learn that your journey may be lonely, but it is not empty. It is filled with purpose that outweighs the pain. Strength in solitude also gives you clarity. When the noise dies down, you begin to see yourself clearly. You recognize your patterns, your strengths, your weaknesses, your wounds. It is in solitude that healing often takes place. Surrounded by others, we are often too busy performing to acknowledge our brokenness. But in solitude, the mask comes off. In solitude, you face yourself, and though it is uncomfortable, it is necessary because you cannot be strong while pretending. Real strength comes when you confront your truth and allow it to transform you. And here is the paradox: the stronger you become in solitude, the more valuable you are in community. Because now you are no longer dependent on the crowd. You are an asset to it. You no longer enter relationships to fill a void, but to contribute from wholeness. You no longer demand constant affirmation because you are secure in who you are. That is the gift of solitude. It strengthens you for the sake of others. It prepares you to shine not because you need to be seen, but because you are ready to serve. So if you find yourself in a season of solitude, do not despise it. Do not rush to escape it. Let it do its work in you. Let it strip away the need for validation. Let it heal the broken places. Let it sharpen your vision. Let it anchor your identity. Because when you emerge from that solitude, will not only be stronger, you will be unshakable. You will not only know who you are, you will walk with a confidence that no storm can destroy. You will not only shine, you will shine with a light forged in the furnace of solitude. Strength in solitude is a rare gift. It is available to anyone willing to embrace the silence, endure the separation, and trust the process. And when you finally rise, when you finally step into the fullness of who you are, you will look back and realize that the solitude you once feared was the very place where your strength was born. There is a strength that comes when you know who you are, a power that cannot be taken, a confidence that cannot be shaken. It is the power of identity. Not the identity given to you by culture, not the labels placed on you by people, not the opinions that shift with the wind, but the identity that is rooted deep in the truth of who you were created to be. An unshakable identity is not built on applause. It is not formed by circumstance. It is not destroyed by rejection. It is anchored in something greater, something eternal, something that does not change even when everything else does. The struggle of life is that we live in a world determined to define us. From the moment you take your first breath, names and labels are assigned. They tell you who you are based on where you came from, what you look like, what you have, or what you lack. Some are praised into arrogance, others are wounded into silence. Both are bound by external voices that were never meant to carry the weight of identity. You cannot live fully if your sense of self rises and falls with the shifting tides of other people's opinions. You cannot walk in destiny if your reflection is only visible through the mirror of someone else's validation. To build an unshakable identity, you must learn to separate who you are from what you experience, who you are from what others think who you are from what you've been through. Unshakable identity is not denial. It is revelation. It is knowing that your failures do not cancel your worth. It is understanding that your past cannot dictate your future. It is realizing that rejection is redirection, not disqualification. It is standing tall when life tries to bow you low and declaring, I am more than what happened to me. I am more than the mistakes I made. I am more than the pain I endured. I am who I was created to be. And nothing, no person, no failure, no circumstance can take that away from me. The reason so many live insecure is because they have tied their identity to fragile things. They tie it to achievements, but achievements fade. They tie it to possessions, but possessions can be lost. They tie it to relationships, but relationships change. They tie it to appearance, but beauty withers. Anything tied to the temporary will eventually be shaken. But when your identity is tied to the eternal, it cannot be moved. When you know you are chosen, when you know you are valuable, when you know you are called, no storm, no betrayal, no loss can uproot you. That is the strength of unshakable identity. It is built on a foundation that nothing in this world can destroy. To have an unshakable identity means to walk into rooms where you are underestimated and not shrink to fit their expectations. It means to face criticism without letting it define your worth. It means to endure seasons of being overlooked and still hold your head high. It means to be rejected by people, but still believe you are accepted by God. When you carry unshakable identity, you stop negotiating your value. You stop apologizing for your calling. You stop dimming your light just to make others comfortable. You know who you are, and because you refuse to settle for less than what aligns with that truth. There is freedom in identity, freedom from comparison, freedom from competition, a freedom from constantly performing for approval. When you know who you are, you can celebrate others without feeling threatened. You can walk your path without envy because you understand that no one else can carry your assignment. You can rest in the truth that you are enough, not because you are perfect, but because you are purposed. Your worth was established long before the world tried to define it, and nothing they say or do can erase what was already spoken over you. Building unshakable identity takes courage. It requires peeling back the layers of false names you've carried. It requires confronting the lies you believed about yourself. It requires unlearning the habit of seeking validation from the wrong places. It requires choosing to believe truth even when your feelings scream otherwise. It requires standing in the mirror, not just seeing flaws and failures, daring to see greatness and potential. And it requires reminding yourself day after day that you are not what the world called you. You are who God created you to be. Do not let rejection make you question your identity. Rejection is often protection, a way of guiding you toward the place you truly belong. Do not let failure distort your identity. Failure is an event, not a person. You may have failed, but you are not a failure. Do not let loss define your identity. Losing something does not mean you lost yourself. You are still here, still breathing, still called, still chosen. That is the essence of unshakable identity. No matter what changes around you, you remain anchored in who you are. Think of a tree planted deep in the earth. Winds may blow, storms may rage, seasons may change. The tree remains because its roots are anchored. Your identity must be like that tree, rooted deep, not in shallow soil that shifts with every storm. In the solid ground of truth that does not change. You are not fragile. You are not disposable. You are not here by accident. You are intentional, purposeful, truths, and that truth, once anchored in your soul, makes you unshakable. So lift your head high. Stop apologizing for your existence. Stop begging people to see your worth. Stop waiting for applause to validate your calling. You already carry everything you need within you. The world may not recognize it yet, but recognition is not your foundation. Revelation is know who you are and walk in it with authority. Shakable identity is not arrogance. It is confidence rooted in truth. It is not pride. It is assurance. It does not mean you never doubt. It means your truth is stronger than your doubts. It does not mean you never stumble. It means you rise every time because your fall did not erase your worth. It does not mean you do not care about others' opinions, but it means their opinions no longer control you. When you live with an unshakable identity, you become a force that cannot be manipulated by flattery and cannot be destroyed by criticism. You walk in peace because you are no longer tossed back and forth by the waves of approval. You walk in strength because you know your value is not up for negotiation. You walk in joy because you understand that who you are is enough. Nothing can change that. So stand firm. Embrace the truth of who you are. Guard it. Protect it. Let no one define you by your past. No one reduce you to your mistakes. Let no one limit you by their small vision. And when storms come, and they will, remember that the storm can shake your circumstances, but it cannot shake your identity. For you are unshakable, unmovable, undeniable. Unshakable identity is the key to living with freedom, purpose, and confidence. It is the anchor that holds you steady in a world that constantly shifts. And when you know who you are, truly know, then nothing, no storm, no rejection, failure can ever take it away. There comes a moment in every life when the path narrows, when the crowd thins out, when the voices around you grow silent. Only sound you hear is the echo of your own footsteps. That moment is not a mistake. It is not evidence that you are abandoned. It is not proof that you are forgotten. It is the sacred call to courage, the courage to walk alone. Walking alone requires a different kind of bravery. It is easy to move forward when others walk beside you, when hands hold yours, when voices cheer you on, when applause fills the air, when the crowd disappears, when encouragement is absent, when support fades. Can you still keep walking? That is the test. That is where courage is revealed. True courage is not found in numbers. It is discovered in solitude. Walking alone does not mean you are without purpose. It means your purpose is so unique that not everyone can walk it with you. Some people are only assigned to the beginning of your journey. Some were never meant to carry the weight of your calling. Some could not endure the mountains you must climb or the valleys you must cross. And if you try to drag them along, you will delay your own progress. There is a reason some doors close. There is a reason some relationships end. There is a reason some hands let go. You are being invited to a path that requires courage because destiny often demands separation before manifestation. The courage to walk alone begins with the conviction that you are never truly alone. The crowd may be absent, but your Creator is still with you. People may leave, but the one who called you has not changed his mind. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep moving even when fear whispers that you cannot make it. It is the boldness to believe in the unseen, to trust in the process, to step into the unknown, carrying nothing but faith. Walking alone forces you to confront yourself. It strips away the noise, the validation, the comfort of company. It leaves you face to face with your doubts, your insecurities, your weaknesses. But it is in that confrontation that strength is born. Alone, you learn that your voice matters. Alone, you discover that your steps are enough. Alone, you realize that the power within you is greater than the fear around you. Courage does not grow in the safety of the crowd. It is forged in the silence of solitude. Many fear walking alone because they equate solitude with shame. They think that if no one is with them, it must mean something is wrong with them. But sometimes walking alone is the greatest evidence that you are on the right path. The narrow road is never crowded. Great call-ins rarely come with large entourages. When you are chosen, you will be separated, and separation is not punishment, it is preparation. You cannot carry the weight of destiny while still tied to the expectations of the crowd. To fulfill your purpose, you must find the courage to release the need for constant companionship and trust that your steps, even if solitary, are leading you to the promise. Think of the trailblazer, the pioneer, the visionary. By definition, they must go where others have not gone. They must step into uncharted territory. They must cut paths through wilderness so others can follow. And because they are going first, they cannot always rely on company. That is the nature of being chosen, to carry what others cannot see yet, to walk where others cannot follow yet, to believe in what others will only understand later. It takes courage to be first. It takes courage to be misunderstood. It takes courage to keep walking when no one else believes in the vision but you. There will be nights when walking alone feels heavy. Nights when the silence weighs more than words could ever describe. Nights when you long for someone to simply understand, to simply walk with you. Do not despise those nights. They are shaping you. They are teaching you to lean not on the shaky support of people, but on the everlasting strength of God. They are teaching you to walk by faith and not by sight. They are training you to endure, to persevere, to become unshakable. For the one who learns to walk alone is the one who later leads others with confidence. Courage to walk alone also means courage to withstand criticism. When you step out, people will talk, they will question your choices, they will doubt your path, they will misunderstand your silence. But courage means pressing forward without shrinking to fit their opinions. It means trusting your convictions more than their comments. Means knowing that your assignment is not up for vote and your destiny is not determined by consensus. Sometimes the proof of your calling is that you must stand alone until your results speak louder than their doubts. And here is the beauty of walking alone. It does not last forever. Solitude is a season, not a sentence. That the path that begins empty will one day be filled with those who were meant to walk with you. Those who were waiting for you to pave the way, those who were destined to align with you at the right time. But if you never find the courage to walk alone, you will never reach the place where they are waiting. The temporary loneliness is the price of permanent impact. So walk on, even if your steps are heavy. Walk on, even if your tears blur the path. Walk on, even if no one claps, even if no one notices, even if no one understands. Courage is not about walking without fear. It is about refusing to let fear stop your walk. Every step you take alone is a declaration that you believe in what is ahead more than you fear what is behind. Every step is proof that you trust the one who called you more than you crave the comfort of the crowd. The courage to walk alone is not for the faint of heart. It is for the bold, the determined, the chosen. It is for those who understand that destiny is costly. That calling requires separation. Purpose demands sacrifice. But for those who embrace it, for those who dare to keep walking even when the road is lonely, the reward is beyond measure. You will emerge stronger. You will emerge wiser. You will emerge freer. And when you look back, you will not regret the solitude, for you will see that it was in those quiet, solitary steps that your greatest courage was born. Do not fear the lonely path. Do not shrink from the empty road. Do not despise the silence. Embrace it. Walk it. Own it. For in walking alone, you are never truly alone. You are walking with destiny. And destiny will always meet those who have the courage to walk toward it, even if they must walk alone.